What is up, Breaking Bad fans? Kino here, and welcome to another day of Breaking Bad-tober. Today we're looking at quite possibly the best episode of the series, Ozymandias. The episode opens with a flashback to Walt and Jesse's first cook in the RV. They're at Tahajli, the same place that they are in the present time. Walt calls Skyler and lies to her that he's working late at the car wash. Skyler then suggests the name Holly for their baby, which Walt likes. The scene then fades away, just as everything in Walt's life is about to. After the title, we cut back to the present. After the shootout, Gomez is dead and Hank is shot in the leg. Hank tries to grab the shotgun, but is stopped by Jack. After finding out that these guys are DEA, Jack prepares to kill him, but Walt intervenes. Walt tells him that he's his brother-in-law and begs him to spare his life. He offers Jack his buried $80 million if they'll let Hank go. Hank, however, refuses to cooperate, telling Walt that Jack already made up his mind to kill him. Jack then shoots Hank in the head. Walt is horrified about what happened and collapses to the ground. Jack realizes that the GPS coordinates that Walt gave him must be where his money is. They dig and eventually find the barrels. They take the money and load it into their truck, and then bury Hank and Gomez in the hole. Todd convinces Jack to spare Walt and leave him one barrel of the money out of respect. Jack forces Walt to agree to no hard feelings about the affair. Walt agrees, but points out that he still owes him Jesse's death. Walt sees that Jesse is hiding under the car, and they drag him out. However, before they shoot him, Todd suggests that they take Jesse back to their compound and interrogate him to see what information they gave the DEA before killing him. Walt agrees, but before they go, he decides to hurt Jesse and tells him that he watched Jane die. After they leave, Walt drives away, but his car is out of gas due to a leak from the shootout. Walt rolls his barrel of money through the desert, passing the very same pair of pants that he lost in the pilot episode. He eventually finds a Navajo man's house and buys his truck from him for $10,000. Meanwhile, at the car wash, Skyler is waiting for Walt. Marie, unaware of what happened to Hank, talks to Skyler. She tells her that Hank has arrested Walt and that it's over. She agrees to help Skyler if she gives her all the copies of the video they made and tells Walt Jr. the truth about his father. With no other options, Skyler agrees. Meanwhile, a badly beaten Jesse is being held in a concrete cell at Jack's compound. Todd drops down a ladder and pulls Jesse up. He takes him to the meth lab and chains him to the railing so that he can't escape. They then force Jesse to cook meth for them, threatening to kill Andrea and Brock if he does not. Later, Skyler and Marie tell Walt Jr. about what has happened. He's completely blown away and angry about the secret that his family has been keeping from him this entire time. Skyler then takes him home, however, they see that Walt is actually there. He tells them that they need to pack up and leave right now. Skyler realizes that Walt must have had Hank killed in order to escape. Walt insists that he tried to save him, but his family is shocked by the news that Hank is dead. Skyler then grabs a knife from the kitchen to defend them from Walt. This, by the way, is the same knife that Walt waited by the window with all night in Season 2. Walt tries to grab the knife, but Skyler slashes him with it. They then fight, with Walt taking the knife from her. Junior then tackles Walt and shields his mother from him. He screams at them that they are a family, but he can see from their terrified faces that this is no longer true. Junior then calls the police and reports his father. Realizing that he needs to flee, Walt grabs Holly and takes her with him. Skyler begs Walt not to take her baby, but Walt drives away anyway. Later, Walt changes Holly in a public bathroom. It's the same changing station from the first episode of the season, by the way. Walt tries to bond with Holly, but she cries out for her mama.
Mama.
Back at the White residence, the police are swarming the place, waiting for Walt to call. When he does, they record the line. Walt, knowing that they're listening, threatens Skylar and plays up his Heisenberg persona. Skylar begins to realize that Walt is doing this to protect her from prosecution. Skylar then asks about Hank, and Walt, hiding his tears from his voice, tells her that Hank is dead. Skylar begs Walt to come home and return the baby, but Walt says that he still has things to do. He then hangs up and leaves Holly at a fire station, where she's found the next day. Walt is then picked up by the disappearer, who takes Walt into hiding. The title of the episode comes from a 19th century poem, Ozymandias, by Percy Shelley. The poem is about a once great statue of the pharaoh Ramses II, which now lies in ruins in the desert. The statue is a symbol of how once great and powerful empires eventually collapse into ruin, just like how Walt's drug empire has collapsed all around him. The scene where Walt collapses and hits the ground is meant to evoke a collapsed statue as well. It's also similar to how Gus looks after Max is killed in front of him. As part of the marketing for this episode, Bryan Cranston read the poem for a teaser trailer, and it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
The episode also shares similarities to the Soprano episode The Second Coming, which is also named after a famous poem and is used to thematically represent the declining state the characters of the show are in.
And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born.
We unfortunately don't have a video of James Gandolfini reading the poem, which would have been awesome. But funny enough, you can actually see Dominic West, Jimmy McNulty's actor from The Wire, read it. I'll link that video in the description down below. This is the highest rated episode of the series, with a perfect 10 out of 10 on IMDb. This actually led to something of a war with the Attack on Titan community, after the episode Two Brothers from that show surpassed the ratings from this one. This led to both sides review bombing the other show in order to get their show as number one. As of right now, Breaking Bad has won, proving once and for all that anime fucking sucks.
But listen, you're watching too much lowly hentai, and to be honest with you, I'd rather you do meth at this point, you know what I'm saying?
When Jack approaches Walt on the ground, he snaps his fingers in front of his face, just like he did in the hotel room when Walt was staring at the painting. Also, the dog at the end is another reference to Problem Dog and Rabid Dog, as well as the fact that Walt is essentially now a homeless stray dog. The scene where Holly cries for her mama was unscripted. The baby's mother was standing behind Bryan Cranston in the scene, and the baby started crying out for her. Bryan went with it for the scene, and it's one of the most powerful moments in the entire series. The writer of this episode, Moira Walley-Beckett, actually appears in a cameo in the car wash. She actually appears at the same time her name is displayed in the credits, funny enough. Finally, when the firemen find Holly, you can see that they were playing chess. The White King, an obvious symbol for Walt, is losing, but is not in checkmate yet. A strong foreshadowing to what will come soon. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one, coming soon. Be honest, how many of you love the fact that Walt called Skylar a bitch? Russell, Sean, Heart of Markness, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, Ops Crazy Media, Daz J. Kid, Conan Higgins, Sam Cedarlin, Don Lucania, Celery Man, Jenna Marie Johnson, Brad Smith Studios, Uncle Mike, and Shane Boyce. Also, Hank survives at the end.
Wow, that sucked.